Today we're taking a look at Sigma's 24-70 2.8 Art EF lens. It is probably the best bang for your buck full frame run and gun lens available right now, and that's pretty much the reason I purchased this lens. As some of you may know, I recently got the Canon EOS R6 because it was full frame. It also fit in with my ecosystem of the RED Komodo having the RF mount. Anybody who's doing wedding filmmaking, documentaries, pretty much anything that you need a run and gun lens for, you basically want to just bring one lens, this 24-70 is a really great option for you. If you're sticking more into the narrative filmmaking realm, then using some of Sigma's more traditional lenses like their 18-35, 50-100, a lot of their primes may make a lot more sense. So we're going to look at using the 24-70 on both the Canon R6 and the RED Komodo. Now, just for a little bit of reference, right now we are using the Sigma 18-35 on the RED Komodo at 18mm. What I want to do is show you some footage examples of using the 24-70 on the RED Komodo, but not only straight to the sensor, but also using a speed booster as well, because I think you may be pleasantly surprised. So take a look at this. Here is the 24-70 on the RED Komodo at 24, straight through with the pass-through adapter to the Komodo. Again, at 24mm, just so you can see the field of view. So now here is the 24-70 at 24mm on the RED Komodo, but with a focal reducer speed booster from Viltrox. So we're shooting wide open at the speed boosted aperture of 2.0. Here is the Sigma 18-35 on the RED Komodo with no focal reducer, just straight through to the sensor at 18mm and f1.8. As you can see, the field of view you're getting with the 24-70 at 24 using the speed booster is very close to the Sigma 18-35. You still get a very similar field of view using the focal reducer on the 24-70 on the RED Komodo, which is pretty insane. Plus, you're also getting that extra stop of light. Now we're stopped down to f2.8 just to see if things sharpen up a little bit, which they should. Especially going to 2.8, which is the original f-stop of this 24-70, but now it's speed boosted. So this 2.8 now is probably somewhere close to an f4. Let's talk about the pros and the cons of the Sigma 24-70 2.8. So pros, it's a really great price. Sony's 24-70, Canon's 24-70 RF, it is definitely a lot cheaper. It is 2.8, so you have a really nice depth of field if you're using full frame, but also if you speed boost this, you get a speed boosted f2.0. This lens has image stabilization, so if you're using it on a camera like the RED Komodo, it adds a little bit of optical image stabilization, whereas the RED Komodo doesn't have any IBIS built into the sensor or in-body image stabilization, but the R6 does. Another pro, which is probably the biggest pro for this, is going to be the image quality. The image quality on this lens is really good. And yes, this lens, it does use an 82mm thread. One of the things I actually noticed though, using the speed booster and the 24-70 on the RED Komodo, is because when you use a speed booster on the Komodo, you end up getting a slightly wider field of view than full frame. If you use screw-on filters at 24mm, it actually vignettes on the 24-70, but if you use a matte box and 4x565 filters, then that won't really be as much of an issue, but that is worth noting if you plan on using a speed booster or focal reducer with the 24-70 on the RED Komodo. Now let's talk about cons. There are a few cons with this lens. Probably the number one issue for me is going to be how Sigma reversed the zoom and focus rings, whereas the zoom is on the top and the focus ring is underneath it, where it's normally the opposite on some of their other lenses, so it does take a little bit of time to get used to that. Another major con of this lens is the way that it zooms. Now, pretty much any lens like the 24-70 that has its lens barrel extend like this does have the chance of getting dust coming through the inside right here and potentially getting inside the glass. Now, it's just something you have to put up with. This is actually a used version of the 24-70, and although it is in great condition, even this one does suffer from a little bit of dust getting inside of it. Now, I believe if you get the lens serviced, they can get removed, but realistically, as long as it's a little bit of dust and it's right here in the barrel, it won't affect your image quality. But it is worth noting that dust can get through if you're shooting in really dusty, sandy areas. This isn't weather sealed, so do be aware that you can get that. On the 24-70, the focus ring is a lot smaller than Sigma's other lenses, a lot smaller than a lot of the lenses I use, so that is a little bit of a pain to get used to as well. The last con is definitely going to be the weight. This is not a light lens. It's pretty hefty and it weighs more than a lot of the other 24-70s. So if weight is an issue, it is worth noting, but for me, that hasn't really been the biggest issue, which is why I put it at the end. If you just need to bring one lens with you on your trip, you're traveling, or you're doing a shoot where just weight is an issue, you can't bring a lot of equipment, well, this 24-70 2.8 art from Sigma is quite an impressive lens. I would say if you're a filmmaker and you're going to use multiple lenses, the 24-70 probably isn't something you'd need at that point because you probably have other lenses that cover a lot of the focal ranges that the 24-70 offer. But again, you may need something run and gun that you only use one lens to do everything, and this 24-70 won't disappoint. So if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments below, and if you got knowledge out of today's video, please make sure to hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell to keep up to date with the latest videos from the channel. Until next time, my name's Geoff Fagien. Thank you for watching, everybody, and I will see you in the next video.